If you've been thinking about moving to Northeast Florida from out of state, you probably have a lot of worries. Like, how do I find the right neighborhood? How do I trust the agent that I've never met in person? Are we going to find the right house? What does the process look like? This is a new state. I'm not sure what the buying process looks like there. Or I've never bought a home before, or it's been 25 years since I bought a home and I'm not quite sure about the process. Well, in today's video, I'm going to go over step by step what it's like to work with me as your agent. If you're new here, my name is Melissa Anderson and I am with eXp Realty. I'm your Northeast Florida, St. Johns County realtor, and I bring you new videos every week all about what it's like living here, moving here, working here, all of the things. I do my long form content here on YouTube, and then you can find some like behind the scenes, daily life, recommendations, all of those things over on my Instagram channel, which is St. Johns County Realtor. So you may have noticed I was super consistent publishing videos every Tuesday and Friday. Got a little bit backlogged because I moved my daughter to college. So got her moved. She's going to UF and she's my only child. So it's been a little difficult, but she's going to be great. She's going to be fine. But I think it's like one night I woke up and I was like, oh my God, did I teach her everything that she needs to know to be out on her own? It's like you think of all of these things that, you just want them to be prepared for. But Gainesville is only an hour and a half from here. She's close by, and that makes it a little bit better. All right, but back to this video. So I primarily work with relocation buyers who are moving here from out of state. And I wanted to show you exactly what that looks like. And then just a quick caveat to that too, is I'm probably not the first YouTube video you've watched of a realtor if you're thinking about moving here. So there's a lot of us. And I will just say that it's me. It's me that you get to work with. Sometimes you may find somebody's YouTube channel and they're the ones making the video, but you're going to work with someone else. And that's fine too, that works, but you actually get to work with me personally. All right, so the first thing we want to do is if you're thinking about relocating here to Northeast Florida, we just need to have a conversation. So you can use my contact info that I always put up here on the screen. You can find it in the description below. And just reach out and tell me what your background is. Hey, we're thinking of moving. This is where we currently are. We're thinking of moving there, kind of your timeline. And then we'll schedule a call. So the first thing I like to do is get a call on the books. And in the meantime, leading up to our call, I'm going to send you a buyer questionnaire. And this buyer questionnaire you're going to fill out, and this will kind of help me guide the conversation that we're having on the phone, follow up with any questions that I have. That way I can serve you the very, very best that I can. But in the questionnaire and on the call, we talk about your timelines, your budget, your must-haves, and honestly, like what's the pull to Florida in the first place. And also based on what's most important to you, then we can kind of guide, okay, well, these areas, what areas have you already looked at? What are you considering? Have you explored these areas? Because honestly, most people who are moving to Florida, it's all about that lifestyle and wanting to make the most of living here in Florida, being able to be outside all the time, water, all of those things. And so by the time we've ended our call, I have a real picture of what you need. All right, then the next step is once we've kind of narrowed it down, we know the timeline, I'll send you my relocation guide, and then I'll also send you my buyer's guide. So those are two different things. The buyer's guide is going to lay out and walk you step by step what the process is like on buying a home here in Florida, what you can expect. It'll answer all of those questions. If it's been a while, it's got a FAQ section in the back that you'll find super helpful. And then I ask you to review that, and then also the relocation guide, and then just let me know if you have any questions. You can either text me, you can call me, you can email, whatever, and we'll follow up with those questions that you have. And then this can work several ways. I've had buyers who we found homes that they wanted to look at, closer to their timeline. And I've gone and done virtual walkthroughs for them, virtual tours, either live on FaceTime, or I've done the video and then sent it to them afterwards. And then once they've seen it, then they're like, okay, we're going to plan a trip out. They usually plan a weekend, and then we go and see all of these homes. And then I'm totally upfront and honest. I point out all the pros and the cons. So I'm going to point everything out to you because the house may look beautiful. It may tick all your boxes, but I'm going to point out like, hey, wow, I'm stepping outside. There's like massive road noise. Is that going to be a deterrent to you? Are you going to be able to sit outside and enjoy your backyard if all you can hear is road traffic? Or we're like, hey, this street that this on this home is on this corner, but the school's right there. Just to make you aware, we probably need to come around to this home at different times of the day, because I can only imagine how bad the traffic gets backed up with people coming to pick their kids up from school. So things like that. And sometimes it's happened to where you've come down for the weekend, we've just explored communities, and then you go back, and then we know like, hey, if there's a home that pops up in that community can you go look at that and do a video for us, because we know we want to be in that community. That's also an alternative. It could, it doesn't have to be like, hey, your first weekend here, we're searching for your home. That happens all the time too. But also an alternative is, hey, let's fly in and look at these different communities first person, and then we'll know if we want to focus on the houses in those communities. So definitely different options and different scenarios based on your timeline and what's most important to you, and what makes you feel most comfortable too. And then also, before you come to town or search for homes, we want to know what budget we're looking at before we set up the home search. Maybe you've already been pre-approved. That's fine. We just need to know what you're pre-approved for. It needs to be within the last, ideally, 3 months. But if not, then obviously I can refer you to local lenders you can reach out to and get your pre-approval. That way we know exactly what the budget is for the homes that we're looking at. And then also, you may know, this was a big deal. I did a whole video on this, and this happened, I think August, was it 2024, where they passed the law about compensation, about it being negotiable. So prior to us looking at homes, it's called a buyer broker agreement, which essentially says like, hey, I'm going to be showing you these homes in this area. When it comes time to write a contract for my commission, I always put in there, I'm going to negotiate directly with the seller or the builder for my commission. But that's a new thing. It's been in a process now since August of 2024. Every single agent is required to have that. It's not just me, it's every single brokerage, and it's the law. And if that makes you nervous about what that looks like, I can send you the form ahead of time. You can look at it. All right, so say maybe you've come down the first time, you've done a weekend, you've looked at communities, and then you've done a second trip, and they're like, okay, now we're ready. We've looked at homes. I've sent you videos. You've seen some like, wow, these are some great potentials. And then so you've flown in, and we went and looked at these homes, and you found the one that you love. So what does that process look like? So then we submit an offer. So we'll talk about what we want to negotiate, what's most important to you, what you're looking for, what those numbers look like, what we need to meet. I'm going to run comps on the home and do all of my research. And I'm like, okay, here, give my recommendation, and it's ultimately your decision how we go in, and we submit an offer on the home. And then here it's typically like 24 hours that we put on the contract, that the seller has 24 hours to respond to our offer, and they can either come back with a counter or they can accept the offer. Then and also too, this is going to be outlined in my buyer's guide. And then once the offer is accepted, all parties have signed, we've got an executed contract, and it's official. So that's super exciting. And then it goes over to the title company. And so the title company is the one who's going to hold escrow. So then typically your escrow deposit, but it's usually 1% of the purchase price is the escrow deposit that gets sent to the title company. They hold that, and that's applied towards your what's due at closing. During that time, then we also have like a 15-day, and that can also be negotiable. Some people make it 10, contingency period. That's where we order inspections. And I just like to get that inspection done right away. So if there's anything popping up, we can go back to the seller and like, hey, we need to do, you're requesting these credits or you're requesting these repairs. So that's done. And then during that time, you do your loan application if you're getting a loan, and then title's working behind the scenes, pulling all the documents that they need to do. And then typically the day before closing, we go and do a final walkthrough and make sure that if there was any repairs that needed to be done, those were done, that the house looks good, there's nothing weird that's happened. And then the next day we close. Also, if you're not here during the home inspection, even if my buyers do live here in town, I always attend my buyer's inspections. Those typically are like anywhere from 2 to 4 hours long. And I enjoy going to those. I learn a lot and I feel like it makes me a more knowledgeable agent. But so if you're out of state, I'm there for your inspection. And it usually takes about 24 hours to get that inspection report back. And then we'll review it together. The inspector will send it to you. So get a copy, ask you to review it. Sometimes those can look a lot scarier than what they really are, but it gives you a good picture. And then we'll get on the phone and talk about it. Another thing that I didn't mention is there's also the opportunity. Now, if you're paying cash, you don't have to have an appraisal, but you can still request an appraisal for that property. But with the loan, your lender is going to order an appraisal. And depending on the market and how much this house is selling for, we may opt to, which I kind of always do, I always recommend it, is to do an appraisal contingency and to submit that with your offer. And that basically just means that that appraisal needs to come in at the price that we're paying. If it comes in more, or if it comes in less than that, if it comes in less, then we need to go back to the drawing board and either adjust the price or the buyers have a chance to walk. And then also you can say, if you're not able to be here for the closing appointment, then you can absolutely, we'll just need to let title know, like, hey, this is looking like a remote closing. They'll hire a notary that'll meet you wherever you're located and you can sign that way. Yeah, as an Air Force veteran myself, like I know what it's like to have to do all these moves and not have like a built-in network wherever we're going. So I'm pretty passionate about helping relocation buyers feel just as comfortable as possible and trying to make this process as stress-free as possible as well, because it's a big move, especially if you're moving. It's either, if you're a couple or if you're a family, it doesn't matter. I want it to feel seamless. I'm like, wow, this really something that you really feel comfortable with. You feel like all of your questions were answered. You don't feel like there was any kind of gray area, and you really feel good about the process because this is an exciting time. You're buying a home and I want it to feel exciting and I want you to look forward to it. I hope this answered any questions that you have. You can use my contact information. And if you've been thinking about making that move here, I hope that you will choose me as your agent. And I hope I get the chance to work with you. And until next time.